Praise the Lord. Welcome to this series titled Miracles from the Bible. I am Dr. Johnson, Cherian, and I will be reading a small passage from 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 onwards. A certain woman of the wives of the sons of prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, and the creditor is coming to take my 2 sons to be his slaves. So Elisha said to her, What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? And she said, Your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil. Then he said, Go borrow vessels from everywhere, from all your neighbors, empty vessels. Do not gather just a few. And when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons. Then pour it into all those vessels and set aside the full ones. So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured it out. Now it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said to her son, Bring me another vessel. And he said to her, There is not another vessel. So the oil ceased. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, Go, sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons live on the rest. Praise the Lord. What a wonderful miracle for a widow. God cares for widows. And we see him doing a great miracle. Elisha prophesied and gave her the words that God had spoken to him. Here is a woman whose husband was one who feared the Lord. He was a servant of God and feared the Lord. And she came with a problem to Elisha, saying, The creditor is coming to take my 2 sons to be his slaves. They were in debt and she could not pay it back. Husband was dead. What should be done? She ran to the prophet, and the prophet said, What do you have in the house? And she said, We have a jar full of oil, nothing else. And we see God doing a great miracle through that single jar of oil that was there in that house. Pray and seek the Lord's face. He will do great miracles for you too. And she went and borrowed vessels as Elisha had told, closed the doors, and then she started pouring the oil from the jar into the vessels. It's like a fountain had come into the jar of oil, and the oil kept coming and kept coming till there were vessels, and finally, when the son said, We have no more vessels. And then she came to the prophet again, and he said, Go sell the oil. One thing to note here is, he doesn't ask anything for himself. He's not asking a tithe from her, nothing. Go sell the oil, pay your debt, and you and your sons live on the rest. So God is mindful of widows, orphans. He cares. That single jar of oil became a great fountain of blessing for that house. And they were able to sell that oil and pay their debt and then live on the rest of the money that was with them. So God cares for you. He loves you. Seek His face. Be in His presence. You may be going through poverty, but He can do great things in your life too. He can do it naturally, and He can do it supernaturally also. So trust in the Lord and seek His face continually, and He will bless you too. May God bless you with these thoughts this day. Praise the Lord.